good afternoon, everybody. This is the Warrant and Finance Committee meeting of the 11th of May, 2017. My name is Will Williams, and I'm the chair of the committee, and we will start out right away. We have a person coming for a quick interview who wishes a donation, and somehow or other her request got lost, and so we're making an exception to the rules since she did send in a questionnaire completed, and she's coming to talk with us for a few minutes. She appears to be a bit late, so we will go ahead and start on the remainder of the warrant, if that's all right with the group. And our first article that we have to look at is Article 7 on the first page of what was given out. What needs to be realized on all of these that come from the CEO, that there are remnants of the zoning article number that maybe get confused with the warrant article number. But this Article 7 includes everything on page 2 and everything on page 3, down to where it says Article 8. Basically what has happened is that the Committee of Planning and Forestry were asked to look at our present ordinances and bring them into line with the new state idea of having uniformity throughout the state for all of this type of endeavors. And so what this is putting it into the wording and the restrictions that the state has, and taking out those other items which were unique to Acton. And I have talked with everybody. There is nothing in here that endangers water quality, wetlands, lake shore zones, or anything else. And so we can read these or however one wants to do it.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Yeah, sure.
Have you talked to the planning board? Has the planning board offered an opinion on this?
The planning board offered it, yes.
Did offer it?
Hello, thank you.
The planning board did offer, and it's been checked by the planning board and checked by the CEO and looked at by the selectmen already.
Okay, I guess my concern is you are saying that we are eliminating restrictions that we have in our zoning ordinance. According to your description, and I haven't read this obviously, according to your description, we're eliminating provisions that the town of Acton adopted, but
That we're out of kilt with what the state has as uniform ordinances involving all of this land use. And now this will put us in compliance with the state. They actually took it up to Augusta. Augusta looked at it and read it and said, yes, your changes are compatible with now state law and the uniformity that they're trying to get.
all right, then I don't see a recommendation here from planning board, but I'm going to assume that that is correct.
That is correct. And up to Article 8 on page 4 is this first Article 7.
Right, I saw that.
So if I might hear a motion.
I'll make a motion that we approve it, that we will approve it as recommended by the planning board, and that is, I assume, what's here. Okay? As approved by the planning board.
Is there a second to that motion? It's been moved and seconded. Any other conversation on it or any? All right, if not, let's have a vote. All in favor of Article 7, indicate by any opposition. The vote was in favor. 5-0. 5, no one against.
Okay, just let me clarify. That is as approved by the planning board, okay? And I put that
That is
provision in
assuming
there.
that the planning board has approved it, yes.
That's correct, okay, just so we understand that.
In fact, all of these next articles will be probably with that same suffix added to it. May we interrupt this one, and since we have our representative from the shelter, we're pleased to have you with us today. I'm sorry that there appears to have been a mix-up on someone's part, but we never got your questionnaire until just recently, and I think everyone has had a chance to read it. And if you'd be so kind, if you could stand right there and just tell us a little bit about the organization.
Absolutely. And I won't be too long. I could very easily go on a tangent because I love the mission. But our tagline is Hope Starts Here. We started in 1979. Today we have the emergency shelter in Alfred, which is for men and women. We have a recovery farm in West Newfield, which is a 6-month program for men in recovery. They farm, they tend the chickens, they tend the animals, grow their own vegetables, have very concentrated program in recovery groups and everything. The same thing in Portland at Serenity House. That is also for men, 6-month program. And then we have a program called IOP, which is an intensive outpatient, and that is for people that have either mental health, substance abuse, or the co-occurring. In other words, both together. And that's a 6-week program, and they have individual counseling Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, and then they have group counseling. We also help them at that point if they need medical. In fact, this is for all of them. If you need medical, if you need whatever you need to get you on your way. We offer vocational training and to the residents. We have a food pantry that serves all of York County.
May I ask some questions?
Please.
I also saw on the questionnaire which you all filled out, the fact that you offer family shelter.
Yeah.
That appears to be unique in what we've seen so far in York County. Can you just give us a little bit of...
Thank you very much. I can't believe that I
clarity?
didn't mention it. I appreciate it. Yes, the family shelter used to actually be in Alfred, but we also had a home in Sanford, and it's more conducive, you could figure, a child coming in with an intact family, mom, dad, guardian, and going into a shelter atmosphere, although it was always very contained. They had their own room, living room, that type of thing, but there it's an actual home. They have their own space, but then it's communal living. And we have them there until we can help them get a voucher. Vouchers, unfortunately, aren't as soon to come by or as quick to come by as they used to be. But we keep them there. Of course, we have case management, the manager and everything. And one benefit of Sanford is the families are able to go different places on foot because we're in the center of town. And it's a really very nice program.
How many families can you accommodate?
Well, it's individuals, actually, because a family might be 2 people or they might be 5. And we can hold 16 at a time, which doesn't seem very many compared to what, but...
Mr. Chairman, can I?
Yes.
Can I ask a question? Thank you. How do you get your referrals, or where do your referrals come from?
A lot of it is, they call up, they have a need. But it's
Individuals
sometimes-
call up, or towns call up, or other organizations call up, or
You got it, right there.
all three?
We've had towns call, and we have a good relationship with all of them, but York, for example, has quite a social service network, and when they have someone in need, they will refer.
How about other social agencies in the county that they're referring to you on what percentage would you say, excuse me?
No, go ahead.
What percentage would you say of your referrals come from other social agencies?
I'm going to have to find out that percentage. I'm sorry.
Okay, I'm
I
just
didn't-
curious.
A lot of it is screening right there. Folks will call up. One condition is that you have to be homeless. Living in your car is considered homeless. Couch surfing at a friend's or your great aunt's or something,
Is not homeless?
no.
Okay.
No, so these are, and most do not have insurance, which we're very unique in the fact that we will take people without insurance.
That's only going to get worse. Another question. Are you serving veterans or who are, you are?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And how are they getting referred to you? Are they?
Many times.
This whole board is quite concerned about our untreated veterans that are out there. That's what I'm looking, that's what I'm
Absolutely,
going to.
absolutely.
Okay.
We have some that are referred by one of the agencies or one of the groups working with them. Also, sometimes just individuals that say, gee, my close friend is a veteran and he's having really serious issues, so.
Does the Veterans Center in Sanford ever give you any consults?
I believe so, but
Okay.
I can find that out too
I was
if
just
you want the
interested in
specifics. That's
how interconnected they were with the rest of the community as far as help for our veterans.
right. I will find that out if you would like to know exactly the specific agency.
If you find out, just send us an email
I will.
to Jennifer, that would be fine.
Yeah.
I would really like to see if they're doing it, and if not, why aren't they? Because it's such a problem.
Yeah.
Any
it
other
is.
questions?
And of course, now the opiate
Yes.
Crisis, yeah.
issue
Yes.
is really, and we're trying to get on the forefront of that. We've joined collaboratives with people. Our clinical director is quite knowledgeable and has reached out to many different places, even going to some of the schools, that type of thing for education, but also educating the teachers, for example.
I foresee your population to be helped getting larger and larger over these next few years. Are you going to be able to cope with this as far as the services that you're rendering now?
That's a very good question, because we're capacity right now.
You're at capacity.
And so we would have to, but if you network and all get together, there are ways to do it.
I see.
And so many, towns are concerned, they're calling us, what can we do? And, I say, York they've been down on the seacoast, they have a collaborative. Right now, we're talking with the county of, York County actually approached us about the possibility of having in Alfred, you may have seen it in the paper, it's not a done deal, but they have a building next to the jail, and it was the reentry center for women. Well, now that moved to Wyndham, so they have this empty building, and they were hoping to have a recovery, and eventually maybe a detox and recovery. Again, not huge numbers, but that would be right there, and what it would do, apparently, is help the jail so that they don't have to deal with all of it.
Treated
the
medically
treatment.
rather than legally.
I have
Very
a
good.
question. Do you know roughly about how many you've actually served out of Acton, or?
Well, I was looking at this, and now this is a very educated guess, but I noticed there was one person in Acton at the emergency shelter for 3 days. But then if you look at the farm, there was one person from Acton for 68 days. So my guess is, because it used to be, now they can directly enter, but last year you had to come through the emergency shelter. We've set it up for not necessarily easier access, but they directly call Serenity House.
And I missed it again. How long are they actually to stay as either a family or individual?
We don't have a limited time. Now, the farm, for example, is a 6-month program, but if somebody was not ready, but usually they are. Same thing with Serenity, plus we also have a place in the back. It's a Victorian home in Portland that, of course, was made over, but the original carriage house is a place where they can live independently but still be within their community once they go through the program there. And so they're still connected. And that's a very important thing with all our folks, to still the feeling of community. We have a home, right, called Vilton Hall, which we got a grant from the government, probably 10 years ago now. It's the first totally green building, and it's for chronically homeless. Not just homeless ones, chronically homeless. And they go through our program, and then if there's an opening and they are probably perfect for that type. They are still living within the community. They can decide if they want to go to lunch or not, but there's still somebody there that can keep an eye if all of a sudden you don't see them. And the success rate is phenomenal, because so many people are cut off completely from their family.
Yes.
And they're by themselves.
May I?
Yeah, go ahead.
One more question, I think. You mentioned Portland several times, and you have a facility there. Is York County Shelter now linked in with somebody in Portland or in some organization in Portland?
Well, what it is, they actually merged with us. This is why we changed.
Okay, that's what
We've adjusted the
okay.
name to YCSP, because
Okay.
we aren't,
All right.
it's kind of a misnomer.
Okay.
And we never were a part of the county. It was just we served the county at the time.
Right, I understand that.
But now we're beyond that.
Okay.
Serenity House was one of the oldest recoveries in.
Right, in the state of Maine, yeah. I was
And they
aware.
merged with us.
Okay, that's, so you're offering services beyond the county at this point in time, right?
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Yes, but these numbers that are given to you reflect York County.
York County. You're requesting $500, is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
I'll make a motion that we can recommend that without any difficulty.
Okay. We thank you very much.
Well, I thank you for the
Very,
questions,
very beautiful
for your...
presentation.
Well, thank you. I really enjoyed it, and I have to interject, the whole place is very friendly, because I was directed downstairs, they're having a meeting, and they said, oh, come right in. So I sat down, and they said, now, are you the speaker? And I said, well, for the budget committee, and they said, oh, no, you're supposed to be, and I said, darn, I thought I was going to have,
Right church, wrong pew.
right, but thank you for
Thank
your
you again for your
graciousness.
presentation, ma'am.
Thank you. So we dealt
that
with Article
is-
7, right?
Yes, now, that was the only tabled donation that we had under the donations. We have a motion to go ahead and proceed with the decision on this organization.
I just made a motion.
YCSP was moved that we give them 500. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? It's a great group. All in favor? Any opposition? The vote is 5 yes and 0 no to place YCSP in the list of donor requesters that have been accepted for $500 for this next fiscal year. Now we're going back to the article. Article 8 is the next one, and that is one in which you have an addendum paper because of all of these little initials, and the little boxes were forgotten to be put in and are going to be put in now because of what we found, that they weren't there for the ballot. Okay, anyway, the letters are explained up at the top what it means, and if there's a number after it, it refers to the footnotes, which are on the first page and the back of the sheet. I don't know how you want to do this. You want to go over it in pieces? Do you want to look at it for a few minutes again? I know you've all had a chance to study it, and so that,
I will make a motion that we adopt the recommendation of the planning board again.
again, with the assumption that they have approved this.
That's correct, and
Okay.
we can stand corrected on the floor of the town meeting
All right.
if we're incorrect in that assumption.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion now? Mr. Driscoll, you're looking at it. Okay. All this is putting us in sync with the state. And as I said, they took it to Augusta and had it looked at, and they gave it a blessing.
Okay, well, let me go back over my concern here, because what has happened is the state establishes minimum standards for the entire state.
Right.
Obviously, parts of the state are more densely populated, so the concerns in the more densely populated parts of the state are greater than they are in the less densely populated parts of the state. So that various towns have imposed restrictions which exceed the minimum requirements that are established at the state level. And I just wanted to make sure we weren't in that scenario where we're reducing this level of requirements to the minimum state standard. And it's my understanding from what you've said that we're not doing that.
It's simply rejuggling and moving things from one article to
Okay,
another.
all right.
And again, I asked both Mr. Davis and Mr. Cashin, who have participated in
Good,
this,
good.
whether there was any loss of integrity
Okay.
in our laws, and they said no.
Good, okay. Several years ago, the legislature actually put a proposal before the legislature to require that towns' zoning ordinances not have restrictions that exceeded the minimum requirements established by the state, and that died in the legislature, but I was hoping we weren't making an end run around that.
Okay, any other comments or questions? If not, all those in favor of accepting Article 8 with our recommendation from Warrant and Finance, assuming that it has been approved by the planning board, signify by saying aye. Any opposition? Yes, 5, no, 0. The next is Article 9. Now, it's Article 9 as far as we are concerned on the ballot. If you look down here where it says Article 4, that's the zoning article, okay? But it's in the voting Article 9, all right? So, and they can't take it out apparently because it's in the book that way. So, anyway, it's Article 9, and again, the same process is appropriate here as far as what they have added and what they've subtracted. You can see here on Ossipee River District extends to all the lands within 750 feet, and they've added 500 feet because that's the state, universal state requirement for that, from the normal high water. Talks about private campsites, and again, all of these have been overseen by the proper committee here in town and also by the state. If there's no other questions or comments, may I ask for a vote, please? All in favor of accepting Article 9 with the same proviso that it was passed by the Planning Commission, signify by saying aye or raise your hand. Any opposition? So it passes, yes, 5? Yes.
You didn't make a motion on that one.
I thought he did.
No.
Excuse me.
I did. I didn't?
No, that was, that was.
Oh, I apologize. Okay. Go ahead, somebody.
I will make a motion then that we adopt the recommendation, or we adopt this article pending the recommendation of the planning board.
And is there a second?
Second.
Okay, we've had our discussion. Now, all in favor? Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. The next one is Article 10, which is timber harvesting. Yes. And again, a lot of this on page 7 and 8 are deleted from our present ordinance. And then at the bottom of page 9, additions and restatements.
I'd like to, just a question for, as a matter of information, normally if we're going to change an ordinance, we have to have a public hearing. And I was not aware that there had been a public hearing on these articles. Does anybody have any awareness?
I think they had one.
I haven't
Had a
heard.
couple,
They have had a couple?
I believe.
If you want to question Mr. Pauly's downstairs, he said he'd be happy to come up.
Would you like me to go and see if they can get?
Would you mind, please, ma'am?
Sure.
I think it's important. I know it's important.
Yep.
I just,
It was presented to the selectmen, I know that
That
for
doesn't-
sure.
that doesn't matter.
At a public hearing that I thought was a public hearing. Anyway,
the planning board has to hold a public hearing.
yep,
to move
I think
this
they
forward.
did, but we'll get the confirmation of that.
I just don't want to be doing this backwards and us approving these and then having a public hearing at which objections are raised.
Okay.
And we have to sort that out.
That's fine. So we'll just hold it, if it's all right with the committee, number 10 in abeyance and go on.
I think we're probably going to deal with the same issue in number 11 also.
Number 11
Any place where we're
is-
changing.
Yes, although the changes are minor in number 11. 30 days for the filing of an application for a building or use permit. And on page 12, rather than give a year, they're simply saying the International Residential Code as adopted by the state of Maine, so that they don't have to keep changing it as the versions or the additions of this changes. Do you want us to hold the camera while you have a chance to look at this?
Which one are we on, Bill?
11.
I'm sorry.
Come on, boy. Come on.
We're holding 10.
No offense, guys, I couldn't grab him, but I could grab the next best team.
Okay, good, good.
Thank you, Brenda.
I can answer some of it.
Brenda, the question was because this, for example, Article 10, which is the zoning Article 5, with all of these deletions, was there a public hearing on this? When was it? And
Okay, what we did is early on, and I'd have to go look for the date, early on, we did what we call an informational meeting, and we usually do that prior to a cutoff, so if something comes out of the informational meeting, and it did, that changed anything, they would still have time to change it before the deadline that all of this requires.
That goes right to the heart of my question, because my concern was we're dealing with this, and I didn't want to find out that this had to go to a public hearing.
Nope.
But it has been to a public hearing already.
Right,
Is that what
the
you're-
ordinance requires that we do a public hearing like 30 days
Right,
prior.
right.
So we did it on May 4th, we did a public hearing,
Okay.
and actually no one attended, but that was fine. And it was posted, has to be posted 2 times in a publication, so I did it. I couldn't get it in time in the Journal Tribune, so I put it in the Portland Press Herald on a Sunday, because I figured that would be the quickest that anybody would see it. And I did it in the Sanford News, which is a weekly publication.
Very good. I think
And I had to post it, I think, 2 places in the town hall, so I put it on our door downstairs, and I put it on the bulletin board.
was that for all the articles?
Yes, well, it was
the
a public hearing for all the articles,
Yes.
yeah. And I put on it that it was proposed changes to the ordinance.
Which, as far as the ballot is concerned, includes 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Right.
Yes,
Yep.
5 articles, yeah.
5 articles,
Yeah.
okay.
Okay.
And we also had it on the cable channel, and I had it on the website, so it
I
was
was
pretty...
completely oblivious. I missed
They
it.
were planting onions, I'm sure.
Yeah.
May have been.
So actually,
Probably was.
Yes, it's a great question. Any other questions?
No.
We appreciate you
actually,
taking
it's
the
good
time
you
to
got
come
me,
up
because
here.
Ken wouldn't have known that. So it worked out good.
Thank you so much, we appreciate
Thank
it.
you.
Tell Kenny, I guess we're all set.
Okay.
So we will go back now to
10.
Article 10.
I will make a motion that Warrant and Finance recommend the recommendation of the planning board.
Is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of approving Article 10 as written, signify by saying yes or raise your hand. Any opposition? None.
5-0.
5 yes, 0 no. Okay, next is, well, that's it, isn't it?
No, Article 11.
11.
11.
Same thing, minor changes as far as the times and getting rid of a specific dated International Building Code to say whatever is adopted and presently used by the state of Maine.
Right.
Okay, and any other, may I hear a motion, please, for?
I will make a motion that we recommend this period without the condition, because it's a correct thing to do.
Move, is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion or questions? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition?
5-0.
5 yes, 0 no. That is the end of the articles from the Planning Commission. The next is Article 12, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Selectmen to appropriate and expend monies from the undesignated fund balance for the purchase of equipment or to use as they deem advisable to meet unanticipated expenses and emergencies that occur during fiscal year 2017-18 with a maximum expenditure of $15,000.
And I will recommend that the Warrant and Finance Committee's recommendation should be to amend this to stipulate that this may be done with the advice and consent
But
of the Warrant and Finance
before
Committee.
you're going to put in an amendment, let's pass this one first.
Okay,
May I
all
hear a motion, please, for Article 12?
I'm sorry, yeah.
A motion for
No,
Article 12?
I'm making a motion to.
You want to amend it, but first-
I can't amend it. I can recommend that it be amended, okay?
That's,
Make a motion that we accept Article 12
it's been moved. Is there a second to the?
recommended.
It's been seconded.
I'll second.
Now discussion. Go ahead, Mr. Gore.
Okay, let's make sure we understand what we're doing here. We cannot amend this. All we can do is make our recommendation that
That's
it be
correct.
amended.
That's
okay?
correct.
And so,
What you're saying is, we can recommend by voting no.
well, we can also recommend that we approve this if amended to stipulate
Right
that
now,
this
as it
be.
stands, it's either yes or no, and you can vote no for that reason, but the reason,
okay,
I'm
all
afraid, will not show up on the ballot,
Right,
okay?
okay, all right, so you just want to get this off the table, then make another motion, basically.
Well, we're not trying to get it off the table without discussion, but the point is that if you want to make any changes in it, then you have to vote no on this, because we can't add anything to it right now.
We can't add anything to it in any case.
Yes.
All we can do is make a recommendation, but that's okay. Let's go ahead.
My question is too, is they can appropriate up to that amount, does that mean they don't have to have a public meeting until it exceeds that amount, or how does
That's
that
correct.
actually
They
work?
That's
can,
right.
they can spend up to $15,000.
As an
Without anybody's
emergency. Unanticipated expenses and emergencies.
oversight.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure that was clear.
That's all.
Any other questions? Okay, all in favor of the motion to accept Article 12, signify by saying aye or raising your hand. One,
Wait a minute, what are you
two,
doing?
three.
You just voted to accept it.
Four.
You made the recommendation.
All against this as is written? One. So the answer is yes, 4, no, 1.
That's just our
Okay, okay.
recommendation.
That's fine.
That's our recommendation.
No.
It says
Well,
Warrant and Finance Committee recommends
You have to make a
acceptance
recommendation
or
on the
non-acceptance. And you want to make it as a non-acceptance, and you have a right to say that, because you want to have more safeguards in it, but the fact is that we have to say yes or no.
We don't have to say yes or no. We can include a recommendation here that this be amended to include this provision. But if I'm the only person who's saying that we should do this, then what has just happened stands. If you believe that this should include a provision that Warrant and Finance be consulted and consent, then our recommendation needs to be to amend the article
To actually include
to
it.
actually
That
include
is
it.
a-
That's a recommendation. We cannot amend the article. We
Any-
can recommend that the article be amended to do this,
So you're
okay?
saying, Tim, what you're saying is if they want to spend that 15,000, you want them to come back to us?
Yes.
Yes.
And what happened was,
It's not that, I mean,
well, wait a minute. Historically, okay, when this article was first introduced, which goes back a number of years, and I realize it's not a lot of money, but the next thing you know, it'll be $20,000. This article was first introduced to the town meeting, it actually was $10,000 initially. When this article was first introduced into the town meeting, which goes back to, probably 204, 205, it included wording to the effect that the selectmen had to consult and get the consent of Warrant and Finance to do this, okay? At a subsequent revision, and this is more recent now, with the last Board of Selectmen we had, the selectmen deleted the consent. And when that came before Warrant and Finance, I recommended that we also delete the advise, because I didn't want to be in a position to advising and not being asked for my consent. Either I was in or I was out as a member of Warrant and Finance. Okay? So the selectmen rapidly adopted that and deleted any reference to Warrant and Finance. And that's how this article has stood for about 4 years now. All right? I'm suggesting that it's time to correct that and restore it actually to what the initial article, the way the initial article was constructed. And actually, the way the initial article was constructed, it didn't involve the consent of Warrant and Finance, but it was amended on the floor of the town meeting to require the consent of Warrant and Finance.
We can put it on the town floor again.
Beg your pardon?
You can amend it on the town floor and see if it.
Well, well, the question here is, does Warrant and Finance want to make that recommendation? If you don't want to make it,
Well, we just voted that we.
What we're doing here is recommending as it's written. We're not adding any pieces on here.
okay, that we don't have to do that.
I agree with Mr. Driscoll. It was born that way, and what you need to do, and what we need to do as a committee, is before all of this gets put in for the next year, we ought to be asking them to please restore that phraseology for this particular article.
Okay. Well, it should be part of the article, but
Yes.
if we make a recommendation to adopt the article providing the Warrant and Finance is consulted and their consent is required, and then somebody makes a motion on the floor of the town meeting to include that provision, that's what the town meeting adopts.
But what you're doing here is saying we either recommend it as it is written, or we
No,
don't recommend it.
No,
as it's written.
I'm sorry, that is not the case. You're asked for a recommendation, it's not an up or down. It's not on the article as written. We are asked simply for our recommendation. So we're not going to vote yes or no on all these. We're going to make a,
That wasn't his motion. Roland's motion was the recommendation to accept it as written,
right,
and that's what we voted on.
Reason being
You can amend it on
is
the town floor.
you have to accept that your selectmen are going to use due diligence in the expenditure of funds that they are authorized to expend without somebody micromanaging their job. If you go back this is going to be, you can do the same thing with the road commissioners on their projects, on how they're going to, you have to come to us and say, this is what you're going to do.
so as I understand it, you're okay with the article as it's written? You
It's
don't,
15,000 as for emergency,
you're okay with it?
I'm okay with the way it is.
And you're okay with it?
Well, that was his motion, and.
Okay, right, so,
And I'm fine with it. The only thing I would do for it is that anything above that we'd be.
They can't do
they
anything
can't do
about it.
anything, they can't do anything about it, okay.
Anything in excess of 15,000, they can't
Okay.
do
Right.
anything with.
All right, so I'm going to fold my cards here because it's clear that a majority is happy with it.
I understand where you're coming from, but this should be a part of next year's
You should make sure that
crafting
this
of
becomes
these
part of
things.
You
next
can
year's
actually,
warrant next
I
year.
would back you on the town floor.
Yeah.
And I would
bring it
too.
up.
If you bring it up at the town meeting, I'll back you on the town floor as far as that goes. If you want to
And I
amend
would
the
too.
article there, but
Explaining what
We
it
can't,
used to be, and it was taken off, and now you are suggesting that it be put back on, that phraseology. Do it on the town floor.
Yeah, that way.
That's fine, that's fine. I just thought if we went in with a unanimous vote to do this, then the town meeting is just simply going to pick it up, but that's okay. I'll pass it by. I will make this comment, though. We are not voting up or down on the article as presented. We are being asked simply for our recommendations.
Right.
So.
That's all.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's all.
Okay.
And- Okay.
So that's finished. This vote is 4 yes, 1
yes,
no.
1 no.
4 yes and 1
Okay.
no.
Get it
Yeah.
right.
Article 13, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to dispose of surplus town-owned equipment having a value of less or equal to $500 on such terms and conditions as they deem advisable, and to execute any necessary documents to accomplish said purpose. All equipment having a value of more than $500 shall be put out for public bid. Funds received from such sales shall be placed in a capital reserve account for the associated department.
Okay. I'm going to tell you right off that I do have a problem
Okay,
here.
let's discuss it after we have a motion, please.
Okay.
I will make a motion to accept the article as written.
It's been moved to accept the article as written. There is a second, now discussion.
I will make a recommendation that the term capital reserve account be deleted from here. There is no capital reserve account, okay? And that the term undesignated fund be inserted in place of the capital reserve account.
But then it doesn't go to the associated department.
Right.
So what you're saying is, if X over here has a piece of property and the town disposes of it, rather than the funds going to X or X's department, you're saying throw it in an undesignated fund.
This says funds received from such sales to be placed in the capital reserve account.
For the associated department.
Okay, you're reading that associated department as where it's coming from?
Yes.
So if you have a piece of fire equipment that you're gonna sell.
Okay.
You know, it's obsolete.
All right.
And, you know,
Like they
we're,
just
we're,
did.
we're gonna sell the old tanker truck for $5,201.
Right, okay, all right, I understand. And I guess I can live with, my problem is the capital reserve account, but that's a whole different story.
Yes.
Kettle of fish that we're going to be dealing with very
Yes,
shortly.
Yes.
So I'll just,
Any other comments or questions?
I'll vote in favor.
All in favor of the Article 13 is moved, please by saying yes or raising your hand.
5-0.
5 yes, 0 no. Article 14, to see if the town will authorize the Board of Selectmen to sell any tax-acquired property or to issue a quitclaim deed for the same. Sale to be by sealed bids or public auction if to other than the owner of record at the time of the foreclosure, and no selectman during the term of his or her office may acquire from the town any interest in real estate acquired by the town on account of non-payment of taxes unless the owner of record at the time of the foreclosure was the selectman or the son, daughter, spouse, or parent of the selectman.
Motion to adopt the article is written.
There is a motion to
Second.
adopt the article as written. It's been seconded. Discussion or comments?
Straightforward.
Okay, may I have a vote, please, on recommending Article 14 as written? All in favor, any against? The vote is 5 yes, 0 no. Article 15, to see if the town will vote to put the funds received from the sale of the tax-acquired property during the year 2017-18 into the capital improvement fund.
All right, I
First, I need a motion.
I'm going to make that. But I've got a problem with capital improvement fund.
Agitorium nostrum in nomine Domini. May I hear a motion first so we can discuss it.
I will make a motion to accept the article as written.
There is a motion to accept Article 15 as written. Is there a second?
Second.
Okay.
Okay, now discussion, please.
Okay. I am going to vote no on this simply to demonstrate my objection to the inclusion of the capital improvement fund, the terminology of the capital improvement fund. When you go through the records, you'll find we have more than one capital improvement fund, and we have capital improvement reserve fund, we have all kinds of funds.
Right.
So,
That's a part of your presentation that you're putting together, right?
right, my sole objection here is that terminology, and my no reflects my concern with that terminology in this
understand.
article. Okay.
Okay. Any other comments or questions? All in favor of the motion to accept Article 15, signify by saying yes or raising hand.
2 yes,
All opposed?
3 opposed.
So yes, 2. That was a yes vote, Mr. Driscoll? And no, 3.
Can I sidetrack
Your
here?
problem is, so that for clarification, your problem is the language capital improvement fund?
The reference to the capital improvement fund. When you actually make a list, and I've just done this, and I'm going to supply everybody with I've made a copy of all the funds that we refer to in warrants from 208 through the year 216, okay? And every warrant you go to, the terminology is different, it switches all over the place, and the terminology in the books is different too, and this needs to be addressed and resolved as we move forward. But, so that's my only objection to this article, because the article,
Exactly. You
Yeah.
know, I
I want
mean, the money has to go somewhere.
Right.
However, saying, and I agree with you this time, Tom, saying, you know, just, let's put it in the capital improvement fund. Where is that? What is that?
And who
has
actually
access to
charges,
it,
yeah.
et
That would be
cetera.
my, that would be my
So,
concern.
you know, I mean, there are questions.
And the problem is more complicated than this because this warrant is the sole legal document that authorizes our selectmen to both appropriate money from municipal funds and to raise taxes. And if you don't get the wording in this right, the paper trail is just an ungodly mess. And I'm afraid that's where we are right now.
Okay, the horse is dead.
Right, I'm sorry, yeah, I'm being,
Article 16.
Trying to move on.
Yeah,
Article
I hear you.
16,
What would
I'm
you,
sure.
just out of curiosity, what would you have rather that say instead of?
I don't know. I don't know. All I know is we have a whole bunch of accounts that we're referring to, and whatever the treasurer picks, okay, there's got to be one label that's used in common. We have, but this will become clearer when I send you my my stuff, okay? I don't want to get into it now. I've been working on it for 3 weeks here.
It's called a treatise.
Unfortunately,
My concern is who has access.
Okay, Article 16. To see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen upon request of the treasurer to allow the treasurer to waive foreclosure of a tax lien on a specified property for a specified year with reference to the tax lien certificate recorded in the York County Registry of Deeds in circumstances where the Board of Selectmen determine that foreclosure may encumber the town.
Make a motion, we accept the article as written.
There's a motion to accept it as written. It's been seconded. Any conversation or discussion about this? If not, may I have a vote? All in favor of Article 16 as written? Any opposed? So it's 5 yes, 0 no. Number 17, to see if the town will vote to have real estate and personal property taxes first payment come due on October 17, 2017, and the second payment on April 17 of 2018.
motion to,
There's a motion to approve this as written.
Second.
It's been seconded. Any discussion? Ask for a vote. All in favor of Article 17 as recommended as written. Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Number 18, to see what interest the town will vote to charge on all taxes after October 17 of 2017 and April 17 of 2018. Maximum rate of interest allowed is 7% per annum. I think 7% was what was written last year on this one.
these are established by the state.
Yes.
Recommend adoption of the article as written.
Second.
Yes, moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 19, to see if the town will vote to set the interest rate to be paid by the town on abated taxes at 3% pursuant to 36 MRSA 506-A,
Same as last year.
same as last year.
Recommend approval of Article 19 as
There's
written.
a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor of approval as, recommendation is written, signify by saying aye. Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 20, to see if the town will vote to authorize the tax collector to accept the prepayment of taxes before the tax commitment with no interest. A lot of people do pay in installments.
Recommend approval of Article 20 as written.
There's a motion for approval as written in Article
Second.
20. It's been seconded. Any discussion? All in favor? Yes, raise your hand. All opposed? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 21, to see if the town will vote to authorize the Board of Selectmen to make application for and execute any documents related to any grant or donation, to accept any such grants or donations or any fees, and appropriate such funds for their designated use, so long as they do not require matching funds or encumber the town in any way. The treasurer shall be notified of any grant application, and a copy shall be kept on file in the treasurer's office.
Adopt the article. I recommended adopt the article.
Recommend the adoption. Second. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 22, to see if the town will vote to appropriate all the funds received from the state from snowmobile registration revenue to local snowmobile clubs for maintaining their snowmobile trails on condition that those trails are to be open to the public for outdoor recreation purposes at no charge. Do I hear a
Adopt
motion?
the article is written. Adopt the
There's a
article.
motion to adopt it as written. Any second, any discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 23, to see if the town will vote to appropriate revenues received from FEMA claims during the upcoming fiscal year into the Emergency Disaster Reserve Fund. Oh my heavens, a reserve fund. Said funds are to be utilized at the discretion of the Board of Selectmen to restore budgets of the various departments for expenses incurred during a declared event. I think this is the same wording as last year.
Yes, but there is no emergency disaster reserve fund. In order to create a reserve fund, according to the law, you actually have to have a motion to create it, establish a purpose for it, etc. This is a fund in which money gets put in and money gets taken out. And then the fact that it includes the title reserve entitles the selectmen to do that without any notice of the town meeting or anybody else, and it's an enduring fund. So it's just a rolling fund there, all right? So the town has never actually acted on creating an emergency disaster reserve fund. That's my objection. Obviously, the intent is different, so.
Would you feel better if it said into an emergency disaster reserve
No,
fund?
because you've got to create that too. As soon as you
Okay.
include the term reserve, the title reserve has consequences in law.
I understand.
It's also, obviously, a very simply used term, and it's been used simply in the past, and in places where it's been used,
And you-
people have now assumed it's been used inappropriately, correct? And consequently, the town has acted inappropriately in dealing with these funds in some cases in the past.
Well, in regard to this particular article, have we received MEMA/FEMA funds
Yes,
anytime in the
Yes.
past
Yes.
10 years?
yes,
Oh, yes.
yes. We absolutely have.
Actually, when we had maybe a little bit
Snowplow.
longer.
The big snow,
Yeah.
the big winter, we had a week full of snow.
And the
And where
time
do
the
those
road
funds, where are
washed
those
out.
funds put? When they first come in from the federal government or from the state
Well,
government?
They're always, MEMA and FEMA funds are always lagging
Right.
by a year.
At least
Right,
12 months,
right,
correct.
right.
But when they do come in, where do they go?
They get deposited in some account now, which we have labeled Emergency Disaster
And
Reserve
if we do
Fund.
not recommend this, then let me ask you, where would the monies go if we had a disaster?
This is up to the treasurer and the selectmen to work out. They have to establish a fund. The town meeting has to establish the fund. Otherwise, it can go into a fund for reimbursement, okay, and call it that. And then it would have to be, in order to withdraw those funds and spend them or to restore, you'd have to have a town meeting, whatever. Okay, there's a management issue here. The first thing that has to happen is we have to find out what these funds are.
And the other question I had, what would, anybody know the amount on these? At this point?
Actually, if you have your book, yes, we have it. We know what
You want the budget book?
the budget book for the municipal budget book, right?
The one I had is, I know I only
book
have
here.
what I got. I was just curious what the amount would be on this.
What's in it now, right?
Yeah.
I don't know what's in it right now. You have it right here, Bill. Let me
mine.
just slide this aside for a minute.
Just take this.
Oh, you guys are better at this than my budget books in the past. I wasn't planning on asking 20 questions, but I was just curious.
Mine is sitting on my desk, but it is
I don't know what it's under.
right here. Fire department, let's see.
Where are you looking, Tom?
The last page, and this is something I've asked the treasurer for, and she has kindly done this for us. she has one page on which she lists all the carried and reserve funds.
It's the last page of the budget book.
Last page of the budget book, right. And interestingly enough, on this list, which is supposed to include, FEMA Disaster Reserve, it's titled, right here, and the current amount in that fund is $19,863. Find it? It's labeled, in this book, it's just labeled FEMA Disaster Reserve. It's about,
Just a second.
It's a little, yeah.
FEMA disaster reserve.
I'm not the only one that has.
No, I asked next year if they could get it just a little bit bigger.
All right, so they have a fund already set up.
Yeah.
Right.
But it
Okay.
doesn't say who can access it, it doesn't say.
I'll tell you who can access it, the selectmen can
Well,
access
yeah,
it
but it
without.
doesn't say for why. If it's just for FEMA, if there's a road washout, snow avalanche.
Well, supposedly, according to the article,
It's for budget restoration for departments that had expenses incurred because of the disaster.
That's what it's for, okay? That's its
It
purpose.
specifically says that in here.
Well, I know that. I know what it says, okay? What I'm saying is, there is no such reserve fund. As soon as you put that term reserve in there, you bring this under the jurisdiction of state law, okay? And the fund then becomes durable and the selectmen can access it. But in order to do that, the town actually has to go through a process, just like adopting an ordinance, because this is an enduring thing now, it outlives the town meeting, and create that fund, a reserve fund. The town has never done that. And that's why there is no such thing as this reserve fund, or any of
Well,
them.
there is one, but you're saying it's not a
saying it's
valid.
not a legal or valid
Right,
fund.
right. And when the
So,
selectmen access it,
issues- The issue that you're having is the fact that it's not a legal.
no, it's not a legal reserve fund, okay? And as soon as you,
Tom, my point would be that we have an emergency FEMA fund.
Right,
Right now.
right.
And
Right.
they're asking that if another emergency occurs, that reimbursement for that emergency would go into that fund. Your point is that the fund is not legal.
Right.
Or that the fund needs to have a different name.
He's saying it was never created?
it was never created.
It was never
okay?
created.
Right.
Are you sure about that though, Tom? We don't know that right now.
No.
To suggest.
Let's put it this way, I have researched every warrant from 2008 up to 2016. The question is going to go to the treasurer ultimately, it has to go there. But I can find no such motion for virtually any of these reserve funds that are listed here. The only one that we've gone through the process of creating legally was the ambulance account, the money from the ambulance. But that's okay. As far as I'm concerned, you can go 4-1 on this. I will vote no, and my objection is the terminology, the Emergency Disaster Reserve Fund. And we're going to move towards a resolution of this.
I think, I haven't read all of your final things. You have a valid point on almost all of this, but the point is that this needs to be put before the selectmen after all of this.
That's correct.
Either prior to tonight's voting or amended on town floor, or,
Yes,
discuss it there.
yes.
To have it in
This,
front of us tonight and, we don't have Michelle here is.
and even if
That's-
Michelle were here, but Michelle can't do anything to
Just
change the
interference.
terminology.
I don't disagree with anything you're saying.
Okay.
Okay? The information is coming and it's going to be available, but I wanted to take enough time to make sure it was right when to
wanna
the
read
extent
it.
that I
I
can.
wanna read it before I give
Okay,
my blessing.
Right. And I will be sharing that with everybody, but I'm a
Okay.
limited quantity, and this
Okay.
is a lot of work to dig through all this stuff.
No,
Please
you-
vote on
Yeah.
it's fine.
Right. And I want it on paper so you can all read it and decide whether you agree or not, but I'm also,
But it's not just for this particular article.
Right,
You
right,
have a whole bunch of valid suggestions about clarifying the
Right,
terminology,
right.
clarifying the types of funds that we have in reserve accounts, et cetera. That is very valid, but that should be, it's such a big and important thing, it should be presented after this is done. Because right now, all we're doing is to go ahead and hopefully,
Either after or prior.
yes.
Well, it can't be done prior. Again, this is one of these scenarios where we're squeezed in time. And I don't have a problem with moving. So vote, I'm going to object
Okay, okay.
and vote in favor.
So
I'm
we
going
have a
to object
motion that's
simply
been
because the issue's
seconded. Is there
there.
any other
What was
discussion?
the motion, Will?
The motion was to accept as recommended, is that correct? Have we had that yet?
We haven't had it.
Sorry about that.
I'm sorry, but I will be glad to make that
You-
motion for you, sir.
All right, it's now been moved.
Recommend the
that we
Article
recommend
25
be approved
be
as written.
accepted as written.
23.
23, excuse me.
Is there a
Bad
second to that motion for Article 23?
Second.
Seconded. Any further discussion? And you're finished with your discussion portion.
Right,
brother.
right.
Anybody else have any other comments? Mr. Driscoll? Okay, we vote all in favor as written?
I'm going to abstain.
Okay, we have 3 yes, 2 no.
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 One
One
no.
One
abstention.
abstention.
Oh, I'm told you can't abstain. I don't know why, but
Why are you abstaining?
Because I don't like some of the stuff in there, and I like the idea of this fund, because we all,
I would urge you to vote no on it then, please.
All right, no.
Ms. Michelle. Ma'am?
yes, no,
Okay. So
Which is-
3 yes, 2 no.
I just don't,
Don't be wishy-washy.
I am not wishy-washy.
No, no, I understand what you're saying,
I'm
but,
not totally against it, but I'm not totally for it
I
either,
understand.
because of some of the,
so vote no without any problems. We accept that.
I will share with this group the fact that Michelle has concerns about these labels too. When
I'm not saying your
Okay.
point
No.
isn't valid. It's
Okay,
just the
move on.
timing of it.
Okay, move on.
Article 23 then is 3 yes, 2 no. Article 24, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $868,740 for general government for wages, operational costs, and employee benefits for the following departments. Governing body selectmen, $29,389. Town gym, $4,550. Office assistants, $46,011. Warrant and Finance Committee, $266.
Have a budget?
Didn't know we had a budget.
secretarial budget. If we don't behave ourselves, I'm gonna put it in use.
Municipal management, $477,201. Elections, $6,883. Registrar of voters, $4,570. Finance and treasury, $50,173. Town administrator, town clerk, town tax collector, $86,720.
Damn.
Assessment, $41,400. Land use, $121,577. Do I hear a motion?
Recommend adoption of the article as written.
There is a recommendation and it's been seconded to adopt as written. Any discussion? Everyone's quiet? All in favor, say aye. Any opposition? 5 yes, 2 no. 2-0. Okay, warrant 25. Article 25, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $4,108 for health and welfare. This includes $108 for health officer stipend cost and $4,000 for general assistance. Recommend
approval of Article 25.
Article 25 has been, a motion's been made as written. Is there a second? Yes, there's a second. Discussion. All in favor? Aye. Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 26, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $593,427 for wages and operation expenses for fire rescue department. Do I hear a motion?
I have a problem.
Yeah, me too. We might want to table this for later
Never mind,
consideration.
hold on. I had to find it first.
What page are you on?
I'm searching.
Make the motion what you're thinking, because we may be all there thinking the same thing.
I'm sorry?
No, I'm asking so we can discuss it.
Yeah.
Absolutely, go ahead.
Someone make a motion so we can discuss it.
I just wanted to thank Tom for all the research he did on the Scott air packs in the bunker gear and everything. That was,
Well, I didn't have as much time to do as much as I wanted to, but it
well,
looked
on
to
the
me.
air packs, that was good information. That was,
Yeah.
I think also on those air packs, if I recall
Sir,
correctly,
but we have
when
to
the
have a
new...
motion before we discuss, please.
Well, you don't have to, if somebody insists upon it.
Well, I haven't recognized you then if you're not going to
Okay.
write a motion
Well,
yet.
it'll be recognized.
What are we going to do, please?
Recommend that we do not approve Article 26 as written.
Oh, do not approve.
Second.
Okay, there's been a second. Now we're open for discussion.
Okay, on the matter of the air packs, it's my recollection, is just a little expansion on that, that when we purchased the new Peterbilt pumper down there, that also came equipped with new air packs. At least 4 of them, if my recollection is correct, that was part of that purchase. But I may be wrong about that, and I haven't had time to go dig that back up, but,
Well, you mentioned, and it's in here on a separate article, as far as the outer coating, the outer coats and outfits.
okay,
The story is this: they have 15 that are going to be considered no longer useful as of next month, June of 2017.
And let us,
This is because,
because of this is the SCBA's that we're talking
no,
about.
I'm talking about.
Are you talking about
turnout
Turnout gear.
Turnout gear,
How many sets of turnout gear does the fire department have?
20.
20.
15 of which are going to expire next month.
God, we got more.
Because it's required by state law that they go with the NFPA requirements that is chronological and not because of anything else. After 10 years, they have to be turned in and cannot be used.
So they have a total of
They have a total of 20,
20,
and they have 15 that are going to have to be tossed next month.
15,
They have 5 left that are good until the year 2020, of various sizes. And the new ones that they're asking for in another warrant are 15 new ones, which they will be measured by the manufacturer for the 15 firefighters that are over there, including boots all the way up to top.
Okay, are those funds for that included in this
No.
Article 26?
No.
Okay, then let's wait and hold off on that, because that's a different discussion, okay? I would like to research the law. I don't want to act on it tonight. What does the law or NFPA actually recommend? Interior people have...
NFPA recommends that the deterioration of the turnout coats are
It's
based on
timeline, it's
time.
not use, right?
Time is the
Right,
biggest
I understand that. What happens
You
is...
said
they
it
lose-
might be because of usage, but usage has nothing to do with it. It's 10 years.
All right, that's the flame retardant. The flame retardant, retardants of the Kevlar expires after a certain period
You
of time.
brought that up in the
Right.
email this morning.
Right.
I found the chief finally this afternoon and had a half-hour discussion with him about this, okay?
I would like to take the time to see exactly what that NFPA recommendation is. Is it applicable to turnout gear for interior firefighters, or is it applicable to all
They
firefighters on
cannot
the ground?
use those coats for anything.
Well,
They are considered no longer usable equipment, and the state of Maine states that you must follow NFPA, MPFA.
Okay,
Criteria.
all right. I'm not going to argue with you. I've been quoted a lot of stuff by a lot of different people. It turns out not to be so when you read the fine print, but that's
I
okay.
assume that the chief knows what the rules are,
Well, all right.
and I assume the chief was telling me the truth.
Well, I think that's probably a reasonable assumption. I'd like to satisfy myself. That's part of our job here.
And that's why I spent time on the telephone with your question to me this afternoon.
Okay.
And if you had read your email, it would all be there.
All right.
Okay. This is, those pieces of equipment are a separate
Okay.
article.
Yeah, so we shouldn't
So
even be
this is
discussing
just for
those.
wages and operational expenses
Where
under.
is that separate article, please?
So this article here has nothing to do with the
Turnout gear.
right?
No, sir, it does not. No, sir.
I'm trying to determine the article for the turnout gear.
Okay, so this is basically $160,000 more than, well, I can't say that because there's so many different articles last year with respect to the fire department, but it's,
Has anybody found it yet?
I'm looking.
Alton Sand, public safety.
it's probably
After donation.
fire department capital improvement fund. Oh, no, that's a new fire truck. It's another one, that's another one. it's Article 29.
Okay. There's your turnout gear.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
I will,
Well, you already have a motion
I am
that has
going
been
to-
moved and seconded, okay? So
I'm
if
going to
you,
withdraw my motion.
does the seconder
Yes.
withdraw as well? Okay,
Yes.
now we're starting all over again. May I hear a motion with regards to this article?
I will make a motion to accept the article as written.
There
Second.
is a motion to accept the article as, and recommend this article as written, and this is Article 26. Is there any further discussion? All in favor?
I'm not sure I'm in
Any
favor, but I'm not
opposition?
opposed. I don't have.
5 yes and 0 no. Article 27, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate no dollars for the equipment expense reserve for the fire rescue department.
I make a motion. We accept it as written.
Right, okay, second?
Okay, it's been moved and seconded to accept and to recommend, but as written, Article 27. Any discussion? All in favor? Aye. Raise hand. All opposed?
This is the articles I like.
5 yes, 0 no. And Ms. Bisho likes this article very
Yes,
much.
I do. I go to 0. We don't have to. worry about
Article
fighting.
28, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $15,000 for Fire Department Capital Improvement Fund towards the future purchase of a new fire truck.
I will recommend that we do not recommend this. I will recommend no.
I would feel better if you recommended yes and then voted no. Because then we're adding stuff to it, okay? We're adding stuff to it.
Well, my motion has not been seconded, so I guess
I'm
somebody else can
waiting,
make a
I'm
motion.
waiting. Is there no second? Okay, now,
I'll make a motion to accept the article.
okay, there's a motion to accept Article 28 as recommended. Is there a second for it,
Second.
please? It's been seconded. Now discussion.
Now discuss it.
Okay, I'm going to vote no on this, and the first part of my objection is the reference to a fire department capital improvement fund. First of all, this is not capital, this is equipment, as opposed to capital. Usually, capital is fixed, equipment is movable. That's one of my objections. The other objection another objection I have is, this is money going into a savings account. This is taxing people for something that they're not going to see or use. And I have made the point for several years now that anytime we park money in a savings account for the town, it costs everybody in this town money. And the people who are paying it are not realizing any benefit from it. It is much wiser and better management to borrow for these types of things, because then you have, number one, you have the piece of equipment here in town. People who are paying for it are benefiting directly from it. The other issue is that the town can borrow at half the interest rate that individuals can. If you leave that money in people's pockets, they can invest it in a more beneficial way than the town can. The town has to invest very conservatively. Individuals can invest in their own business or whatever they want and can put that money at risk. The town cannot. So there are several reasons for my objection here.
Okay, any other
Call the
things?
question.
Okay, all in favor of the motion that has been made to accept recommendation for Article 28, signify by saying aye or raising your hand. All opposed? So 2 yes and 3 no. Article 29, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $31,779 for the purchase of fire department turnout gear. Now we can discuss the turnout gear. If I hear a motion to, first of
I'll
all.
make a motion to accept the article.
There's been a motion to
Second.
accept, it's been seconded, now we're gonna have some discussion. Again, they got exactly 20 turnout gear sets right now, 15 will expire next month, 5 are left that will expire in 2020. Those 5 are going to be retained, and there are varying sizes, and hopefully new volunteers will be able to be accommodated with these 5 sets. The other 15 that are new purchases will in fact be measured turnout gear for each of the firefighters that are involved with the department, and that is the information that I received, because we have to get rid of this stuff next month because it's 10 years old. And it's state law that we follow the recommendations of the NFPA.
So if we have to get rid of it by the end of next month, that's only gonna leave 5 pieces of turnout gear.
Right.
For
Right.
20 firemen?
Well,
Doesn't work.
if this is done, the company apparently is willing to come out quickly and measure everybody.
You don't have, do we actually have 20 firemen?
Yes, we have more.
Because turnout gear is specific to
That's right.
individuals.
That's right, that's why they're all gonna be measured.
why they-
That's
yeah,
why they're
they
all
all
gonna
had to
be
be
measured
measured.
for the 15.
Josh just got a new set 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So he's good to go.
He's good. I'm quite sure Dave Langley has a set. You know, I can name probably half a dozen firemen that their turnout gear probably is not expired.
Well, as I said, the chief said there are 5 that are still good, and they won't expire until the year 2020.
I mean,
The other 15 expire in June, which is next month of 2017. I have no reason to think the chief lied to me, and I have no reason to believe.
Chairman did his research, and we saw what the information was from the chief.
Yeah.
Well,
That's why we would-
in addition, I asked for this, for occupational safety and health, and they would be reviewing this on the
I
paperwork.
understand the
over there.
need for having a turnout gear,
Right.
without a doubt.
Right.
I mean, you're not gonna send a firefighter
Exactly.
into a damn building that's burning without having protective gear. I just wanna make sure that we're, you know,
Dealing with.
buying what we need to buy for who we need to buy it for, and that the money actually does get obligated to those purchases, not someplace else. Not, you know, we're gonna buy some SCBA's and, oh, well, no, we didn't buy SCBA's.
This is-
Da-da-da-da-da-da-da-da. So,
I was told 15 are going to be purchased, and they will be measured.
Can I make a suggestion that we table consideration of this tonight
All right,
and
then
do a
we'll-
little bit more research? I know
What
you don't want to-
other research is
Vote
needed?
yes or no, and we'll take it to town floor and discuss it.
call the question.
All right, it's been moved and seconded that we agree to raise and appropriate $31,779 for the purchase of turnout gear. We've discussed it. All in favor, say aye. All opposed? Yes, 4. No, 0. It's not funny.
one.
Why are you laughing, Mr. Gore?
4-1, right?
4-1.
4 to 1, I'm sorry.
Oh, God.
You can take it up on the.
Okay, Article 30.
I'll probably
To
have an
see if the
answer by
town will
then.
vote it to raise $44,005 for public safety to be expended as follows: streetlights, $1,700, animal control, $9,946, communications, $31,066, and an EMA director at $1,293 for a total of $44,005.
Make a motion, we adopt Article 30.
There is a motion to
Second.
recommend adoption of Article 30. It's been seconded. Any other discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 31, to see if the town will appropriate $17,000 from the undersigned fund balance, oh heavens forbid,
designated.
towards the purchase of the new patrol vehicle for the York County Sheriff Contract Deputy. Total purchase price will be $34,000 to be split equally with the town of Shapley.
I'll make a motion to accept the article.
It's been moved, to
Second.
accept as recommended, it's been seconded, any discussion?
Who do you want a second for that?
Take it.
Any discussion?
0.
All in favor signify by saying aye. All opposed? 5 yes, 0 no. The next one is Article 32, to see if the town will vote to ratify the overdraft in the District 1 and District 2 winter plowing and sand salt stockpile accounts in the amount of $66,397.09 from the undesignated fund. Breakdown of the overdraft: District 1 plowing, $25,618.91, District 2 plowing, $18,412.44, and sand salt stockpile of $22,365.74.
Recommend adoption of the article as written.
It's been moved that we accept the recommendation,
Begrudgingly second.
and it's seconded. Any discussion?
Another issue we have to deal with.
Well, once again, we've exceeded budgets. That's why that's why, we really have no choice but to pay this, okay? It's an overdraft, plowing bill is too high on both sides of the coin. Utilization of sand salt was not judicious. And contrary to some people's belief, this is not within 15%. If you go back and look at what they spent compared to what they were saying,
Authorized initially.
it's closer to 22 to 25% over. Again, we have no choice but to pay the bill.
A lot of this is driven by Mother Nature, though. and you-
Yes, I understand.
you have no control.
I'm a owner of a truck. My truck goes out and plows. Doesn't plow roads, but, I'm just like these guys are, they're looking for the first snowflake. I don't want to see the damn snowflake. But again, like I said, this is something that we have no control over. Mother Nature, yes,
This is part of also some bigger issues that we have
Yes,
to deal with.
and
We have to
everyone
deal-
is aware of
We
these
have to deal with
issues.
the bigger issues.
Yes.
the thing is, we got to pay the bill.
Yep.
So,
All right,
Second.
any other discussion?
no.
All in favor of Article 32, signify by saying aye or yes. Any opposition? Yes, 5,
Actually, you don't,
no,
Once the
0.
selectmen go over that 15%, they are legally obligated.
Thank you, Mr. Gore. Article 33, to see if the town will vote to pay wages and equipment for repair and maintenance of public ways
motion you
according to the
waive the
following
reading.
schedule, or waive the reading. Be this as it
Second.
may, the asterisks on this are all increases, and as you see here, there's nothing in this as far as stipends are concerned. That was discussed for a while, but had been removed.
Motion to accept the
There
article.
is a motion to accept Article 33 as written. Is there a second?
Seconded.
It's been seconded. Any further discussion on this? Again, this is part of a large picture that needs to be looked at in all sorts of different ways.
Call a question.
Question, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? It's approved, yes, 5, no, 0.
Halfway there.
It's going to go faster because we have most of those donations finished. The next one is Article 34, to see if the town will vote to raise $251,076 and appropriate $276,100 for District 1 roads to be expended as follows. $25,024 appropriated from the Road Capital Improvement Fund for surfacing reconstruction. And this is winter maintenance, summer maintenance, road surfacing and construction. And the Commissioner for District 1 has submitted a project list. I have no idea how those projects were chosen, and that was really asked of him. We asked for something in writing, which he gave us.
Motion to approve Article 34.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any further discussion?
I'm going to vote in opposition to this simply because of the inclusion of the term Road Capital Improvement Fund.
All right, that's
Okay,
fine.
that's part of the bigger issue of funds, which, so
Okay,
all I'm doing is highlighting that.
okay, any other discussion? All in favor of Article 33, to accept and recommend what has been set aside here for a total of $18, we can't really say because it's all listed according to salary and equipment lease. Yes, 5, no, 0.
No, I thought Tom
Tom,
did.
wait, wait, wait.
Tom was one.
We were voting
sorry.
on, we were voting
I'm
on
sorry.
Article 34, right?
Yep.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay, yes, I am a no on Article 34,
Okay, so
as I will be on Article 35.
and 34 is the winter maintenance, summer maintenance and surfacing So do I understand the vote is 4 to 1?
4 to 1, right.
Yep.
Okay. Number 35, to see if the town were willing to raise $251,076 and appropriate $276,100 for District 2 roads to be expended as follows. And again, we have a project list by the Commissioner for District 2.
I'll make a motion to accept the article.
There is a motion to accept the article as
Second.
recommended. It's been seconded. Any discussion? I
will-
assume you're going to do
I will
a
do-
ditto?
The ditto, right.
All right, that's fine. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? 4 yes, 2 no. 1 no. Article 36, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $147,000 for shared road accounts to be expended as follows. Stockpile of sand salt, $132,422, and Public Works building equipment, $15,038.
I'll recommend adoption of the article as written. I have a question that I have not had time to even raise, much less get
It's
addressed.
been moved and seconded to accept this as recommendation. Now, we have discussion. Mr. Gore, what are you needing to investigate?
I'm curious to know what the 15,000 is for, and
Exactly.
I think I know, and I know why, but I'm not sure.
We have a brand-new
We
building.
have one of the selectmen here, perhaps she
I
might,
thought it was lights, heat, that it was just.
Isn't that included in the town's utilities?
Let's go to, let's look this up. Bill, I'm going to borrow your book again because I
fine.
left
You
mine home.
bring
and
yours.
I was bleeding to death from the black flies out there while I was
I'm sorry.
working in the garden. This is account
And
105.
15,000 would be kind of high for utilities anyway in that building. So,
Isn't
again,
it
the
the
question is,
the sand digger, whatever
I
that?
think I know what it is, but I don't.
What's-
better not be.
What is it? What's that thing?
The loader?
The loader, yeah.
No. The loader belongs to, well, they both have one sitting down there.
Right. But it's rented to the
How
town for
come-
its usage.
No.
How come
They
these,
charge us by the
Hour.
hour when they are pushing sand or salt into the building, and they charge by the bucket load coming out.
105?
And you don't think that, you don't think that is in that figure?
No.
Okay?
104,
Building equipment, what do they have down there?
Does that include signs?
It just says building and equipment, it doesn't say.
It says Public Works Building / Equipment.
guess what? We don't have a 105 department here. We have accounts 106. We do not have accounts 105, I think, in this book.
105.
You have yeah,
Yeah,
you have you,
it's in the damn road.
oh, it's not under 105 then?
Yes, it is. There it is. What's that? Tab.
It says
Well, I know what
105,
the tab says.
Thank you.
I see what the tab says.
105.30,
Are you on 105.30?
yeah. 30 or
Did you find
32.
105?
Let me see. That was a $15,000?
Yes, 15,038.
Just a moment.
You have pages missing from this bill, if they have
I might
105.
have torn them out and just
Oh, okay.
putting it.
Here we
You
go.
can have that, I've got an extra
Oh.
one here.
Is this yours?
Okay, because mine.
No, go ahead and have it.
Thank you.
This
Jan-
this
They
is yours?
actually, I
I
actually
know,
got
but
two.
it put it up
Okay.
here.
What was
Just
the,
set it right here.
Okay.
It says
105 what?
105-32.
No, 105, 22. Oh, I'm sorry, 105, 30 and 32, yeah. 105, 32, right.
Sorry, this is 105-32.
105 what?
32.
Dash 32.
32 dash what?
That's, doesn't say, it just says Public Works.
It's all of those
Building
grouped
equipment,
together.
it's all of them grouped together for 15,000, for $15,000.
Well, there's, that's not 15,000, is it?
No, it's 15,000, yeah, that's the number.
Is that the number?
Yep, that's the
And what is
final
that
number.
for?
Okay.
Ms. Michaud, what's it for?
That's what we're looking at right now, for the, it's a
It's on,
combined,
Public Works Building, labor, $500. Social Security tax share, $31. Medicare, $7. Electricity,
500.
$522
No,
or $500.
500.
What is that one?
That one's
Repairs-
electricity,
Repairs
repairs and
slash
maintenance.
Is, yeah, thanks. I knew I brought it for some damn reason.
It's 4,000.
4,000 for repairs on a brand-new building.
That's what it says.
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
I think it needs to be looked into. I mean, this is a small amount of money, without a doubt. You know, 15,000 is,
Do they have, well, down underneath it, it talks about the blades and.
Yeah.
yeah, there's $10,000 for blades and,
It's not just.
Nuts and bolts.
It's not just the building, it's everything that's.
It says
They had to
equipment in
do
it.
something to the public sand building. At one point, I think, I don't know if it was on the blocks or they had to do something.
That little creche that stands outside?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maintaining it.
They had to do something to that building.
still very curious as to what, you know.
I
what
think,
the-
yeah.
It's been moved and seconded. The clarification is not good on this one,
As written?
as written, yes.
I'll
So,
vote against it then, we can answer the question.
okay.
If you guys want to vote for it?
Call the question.
Okay, all in favor, say aye. All opposed? Okay,
This is just our recommendation.
Right.
I know. So it's 3 noes
Yes.
and 2 yeses.
What article now?
We're on
We are now going to
37.
be on 37. To see if the town will raise and appropriate the sum of $34,407 for wages and operational costs of the Acton Public Access Television, also known as APAT.
I'll make a motion to accept the article.
Second.
There is a motion made and seconded to accept the verbiage and recommend acceptance. Is there any discussion? All in favor? Aye. All opposed? 5 yes, 0 no. Okay? Next one.
We're getting buggy, Bill, it's time to go home.
It's, Article 38, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $284,248 for the operation of the transfer station. I don't think there's much difficulty
Make a
there.
motion to approve Article 38.
There
as
is a
written.
motion and a second. Do I hear a second to accept the verbiage for recommendation? Any further discussion? All in favor? Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Article 39, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $12,113 and appropriate up to $16,763 for operation of the recreational department. It says $4,650 to come from anticipated
I'll
revenues.
make a motion to accept that.
It's been moved and seconded that we accept the article as written and recommend its approval. All in favor? Aye. Opposition, 5 yes, 0 no. Article 40, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $250 for Conservation and Forestry Committee.
I make a motion that we accept.
A motion is made. Is there any second to that?
Second.
Any discussion? All in favor, aye. Any opposition? 5 yes, 0 no. Next one is number 41, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate up to $302,534 for county tax. I don't think we really have much to argue about that because that's
Make a motion to approve
tied.
Article
A
40.
motion for 41 has been made and it's been seconded by Mr. Driscoll. Any discussion?
Only that I think the county has done a pretty good job of keeping these costs down. This hasn't gone up significantly in a long
What
time.
do they do for us besides a jail and a sheriff?
It hasn't gone up, Bill. Just to be happy that it hasn't gone up.
Don't
It's the,
What have you done for me lately?
Silly me, silly me. Okay, any further discussion on this one? All in favor of Article 41, recommendation is written. Any opposition? Yes, 5, no, 0. Okay. Article 42, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $538 for planning and development to be expended as forester's stipend.
I assume that includes the benefits too, and the social security, et cetera. So,
It would have to.
yeah, so that's why it's sort of an oddball figure.
Do I hear a motion to accept?
Motion to accept the recommendation.
Is there a second?
The article is written.
Second.
For Article 42, for recommendation as written. Any further discussion? All in favor? Hello? All in
Oh, I'm
favor?
sorry.
All opposed? Okay, that is yes, 4, no one.
Mr. Speaker, I'm going to not vote on this next question because it contains to my department.
That's very kind of you. I
glad you're here,
appreciate
'cause I
that.
wanna- I
No,
wanna ask
I'm
this.
serious, that's
Yeah.
very good.
That's a reason to abstain.
Absolutely. Article 43, to see if the town will vote to raise and appropriate $2,750 for cemetery maintenance, placement of flags, markers, and repair of veterans' graves. May I see a motion, please?
Make a motion for Article 43 to be recommend approval.
Is there a second?
Okay.
We have one abstention because of a possible conflict. Any discussion?
Yes.
Yes.
Where?
I just
Would
backed
you-
off because I didn't want to be.
No, you know what I would like? I would like you to take the stand up there because, as you will recall, about 2 years ago, we increased this from 250 to 2,500, or whatever the figure is right now, 27, okay? And that was done at the request of Dick Neal, and I don't recall that we, on Warrant and Finance, had a lot of discussion as to why we did that, except that there was a feeling that our graves in town weren't being properly attended to. So I guess my question is, well, when we approved it or recommended approval of it, there was no plan in place. So my question is, what have you done with this money? Has it been constructive? Have you spent it all? Or are we appropriating more than we need?
First of all, Ms. Misha, will you tell us how many cemeteries we're talking about in the
I've
town?
only got the American Revolutionary War, I've got civil, and I also have Spanish American and some of the 1812s. Just those 4 wars alone are 110 residents, if you want to call it
110
that.
graves?
Yeah,
Grave
just
sites?
for those 4 wars. I had not gone on before that, like World War I, World War II, the veteran,
Korea,
the
Vietnam.
Korean and all that, I have not gotten to. This is just what, to those levels.
And how many cemeteries do we have in?
Over
town
70?
approximately? Over 70 cemeteries.
Yeah, yeah. But not all of them contain, not all.
Not all of them
contain
take flags, no, but
I've got 2 up on
95%
my
of them do.
property. Yeah.
We're finding out between myself, the Historical Society, and other people that are helping me out, that we have more than what we thought we had, and that's part of the process. My process, I was just put into this position, probably, 6 months ago, 7 months ago? Because the Conservation Committee didn't want to deal with cemeteries anymore, and they needed somebody to oversee. So about 6 or 7 months ago, I came forth, asked them, and they appointed me, and I'm doing a lot of paperwork. People that are volunteering, I'm hoping to get people to volunteer to take care of the cemeteries on their property or the privately owned ones. I'm hoping to get volunteers that would like to help out. I'm also working closely with the Historical Society in Acton Shapley, and I'm also working close with Mr. Evad, who actually helps in the Shapley department to get some of the stones done out that should have been done years ago. We just dug out a Civil War soldier's stone. Half of it was buried, half of it was out, to get an estimate about what it was going to cost. I've been looking around for estimates. That's going to be tough because the maintenance person that I use, he's no longer doing it. So I don't, and the selectmen are recommending that I have 2 quotes. I've got to be able to find 2 quotes. That's part of the problem. I'm doing the best I can. I'm trying to organize, so each what do we want to call it? Each cemetery, I know who's in there. I've actually graphed them out. Who's in there, how many are veterans, and who's got holders, who hasn't, and so on and so forth. Ms. Phillips has been doing it for obviously several years. I'm hoping that she continues. I don't, her schedule is
What do you
tight.
actually spend the money on?
Right now, I have not spent a lot of it on anything,
That's every time once in a while.
because I'm just new to this, and I'm organizing with paperwork and
What would it be
trails.
spent on?
Will it be spent on?
Yeah, what would it be, like cleaning?
Yeah, actually,
stones?
flags, cleaning
Flags.
stones, making sure repairs are done to the necessities. We have several neglected, people know it, and people have seen them and gone along. I don't know what it's gonna run me, unfortunately, because like I said, now I have to look for a new maintenance person, because the other maintenance person I had was really
There are some
time.
gravestones that are actually old Revolutionary Warriors, is there not, that
Oh, yeah.
need repair?
Oh, yes, definitely. We have some that just have field stones.
So this money will lapse if you don't spend it, right? There's no,
It actually it rolls into the department. In other words, back 10 years ago, when I was in Conservation Committee, they turned around and took the cemetery money and rolled it over. In other words, what I don't use, it rolls over to the next year.
you mean, this is going to
Carry
be
on.
carried? This is going to be carried?
Yes.
Okay, I've got a problem with that, but we can deal with that when we get to that part, okay?
But it does carry on.
Yeah.
If this carries on to July, because that's where we're going into at this point, if this carries on to July, I'll have approximately $6,000.
Okay,
To have one Revolutionary Soldier's stone done, to my knowledge, is just about $1,000.
yeah, I understand that, Lois. I think we need a plan. We need to know that we're not, when we need the money, we need the money, and we'll get it. But to just stick it there and have it roll over.
No, but the problem is that nobody was taking charge of this.
Right.
And that's why the last 6 months, I've kind of taken it by the horns. I was
And
gonna
you
say
are
something
commended,
else.
you are commended for doing
And
this.
I come here on Tuesdays, they question me as selectman, I let whoever wants to ask questions, ask them. I'm more than willing to research, find out, and do the best I can. I want to make sure that when they go in, it's like going hunting. When you go hunting, you have to get permission to be on somebody's property. I want, whoever volunteers or whoever takes care of these, I want to realize that you have to get permission to cross their property, because some of these are out in the woods, living literally out in the woods. And I want people to realize that we may go out there once or twice. We've got one veteran right now, and helps with the Historical Society. They're actually going to honor in about July. They'll be doing his whole stone and the whole 9 yards. And it's actually Mr. Watson. He was a Revolutionary War soldier. He's located on Garden Road, and I know that's not going to be, it's going to be expensive, but it is what it is. We're trying to work together because it's hard. I'm supposed to have a committee, but I tell them I'm a department, because in order to be a committee, I have to have 3 people, and it's only
You're
me.
talking about an extensive repair to one stone.
To one
There's other
stone.
things you can do, there's like different type cleaners made just for stone.
Yes, there is.
So you can buy that type of cleaner.
Exactly.
Spray on where you don't have to scrape. I've been reading.
It's
all
called
about
Spray and Go, believe it or not. It is sold at Lowe's. Mr. Revad was telling me about that. He says it takes
Spray
more.
on the old stones, and you just leave it.
Yep.
And over time, the rain
Rain
will take
pollution.
care of it, doesn't bother the.
That's going to, in the long run, save us,
It's gonna
because,
be things like that.
yeah,
Things that we can do without.
it's
an
weed whackers. I don't have, it's these guys that come and see me, they don't have, if they need weed whackers, I have to, I have to furnish them something to do, basically have nothing. We don't have that type of equipment,
Yes,
so I'm
Mr.
going to be
Grant.
able to afford it.
I have another couple of questions revolving around this. Did anybody ever secure Olive's records of,
That would be up to, I think, if anybody did, it would
Hannah has
be
them?
Hannah.
and you haven't seen them?
I have what we shared on the Conservation Committee, between Hannah West and myself. We shared a lot of her records.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of them have come from. But-
From Olive?
Yeah, and a lot of it too has come from genealogy that I know about. And plus, when you're 10th or 11th generation pool, you kind of have it down pat more
She's a
than not.
Martell. Don't tell
No, I'm
anyone.
actually, I bend from the knees, so.
I know.
Please limit your questions to the actual
But
reason.
yeah, I'm trying to do the best I can. I've got Jennifer helping me to make sure everything's legal, so that's another thing that I don't know if I owe her money out of my department, or if that's something she's covering. I've got Kenny Paul and his secretary also helping me, that as far as locations and making sure, because obviously the selectmen want them in line to know who's out there, to know where they're at, and to make sure we honor and take care of them. And that's costly too. It's not a cheap adventure, and right now, I'm cringing because they haven't given me their bill yet. I'm like, oh.
That's
All
fine.
right, I'm sure we'll cover it, Lois.
All right, we have a
Thank you.
motion, it's been
You're welcome.
seconded. Any further questions or discussion? All in favor of approving Article 43? Any opposition? Fine, we have one abstention because of possible conflict of interest, so we have exactly 4.
Thank you, Lois, for
Nothing?
bringing us
You're
up to
welcome.
date.
Thank you for your
Efforts, too.
volunteering for a very, very hard job.
It's
Now, you are no
interesting.
longer going to abstain with the rest of our voting. Please come and sit down and join the committee again.
I think we're pretty much done though.
I think we just about all. Now, 44 has been done, 45 has been done, 46 has
Go
been done.
through to 49.
49 we did at the beginning of
49
this.
was tabled,
Yeah, because she wasn't here.
because she wasn't here.
Oh.
Did we do it?
I thought we had
Yes, we
voted on
did,
it.
we did vote on it.
We voted on it.
Voted on it.
No, I don't think we did.
Well, then I'll make a motion that we, $500.
Okay, let's start at $500 for the York County Shelter Program.
Second.
It's been motioned and seconded. Any further discussion from the fine presentation that was given to us? All in favor? Any opposition? 5 yes.
Let me note
0 no.
that because we voted for this twice, that doesn't mean we're sending them $1,000.
That's
We're
correct.
supposed to send them 500.
500.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I don't
So,
think we actually did. I think-
Article 8, Article 50 is done, 51,
Skip to
52,
Article-
53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, now we are at 66.
Almost.
Article 66, to see if the town will vote to raise $10,975 and appropriate $18,128 for dams. It says here $7,153 to come from the dam's capital improvement fund.
Right.
That's another one of your funds.
Exactly, and there is no
Mr.
such
Clark?
thing that's legally been approved, so I'm going to vote no on this. It's referenced twice here. The dam's capital improvement oh, wait a minute.
Annual maintenance for the Mawson
no, what I'm going to
Watershed
be-
Dam is $5,450. The Mawson Watershed Dam Coalition 2017 capital improvements, $7,153. The Dam Capital Improvement Reserve Fund, $5,000, and the Balch Lake Dam Operator's Stipend, $525.
Okay. The dam capital improvement reserve fund has never been created by the town. It does not exist legally. Okay? It is not a
But it has
reserve.
$5,000 in it.
Well, this is asking for it. I'm going to vote no here. This is another issue.
I understand.
and-
That's fine.
okay.
Any other
Did
discussion?
somebody already motion, make a motion?
Maybe somebody needs to make a motion.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I'll make a motion to accept the article as written.
Is there a second? Okay, any other discussions besides Mr. Gore?
Call the question.
I think I might as well go home
All in
now.
favor? All against? So it's 4 yes,
And
One no.
no.
okay. The next one is Article 67, to see if the town will vote to appropriate $30,000 from the undesignated fund for replacing siding on the rear of the town hall.
I will make a motion to accept the article as written.
It's been moved
Second.
to accept Article 67 as written recommendation.
Aye.
And seconded, discussion.
I intend to vote
Yes.
no. I intend to vote no on this because we do not have a quote in front of us, and that sounds like a very large number for plastic or for vinyl siding. And as I understand it, it's only the back of the new part of the town hall, or I may be wrong about that, but I have no description here. Well,
Selectmen's
okay.
point.
The back here, and then it comes in a little,
Yep,
goes back out, and then where Ken just put the stairs.
all the way around, wrap around. Do we have a quote on this anywhere? Then where does this number come from?
I don't.
It says up to 30,000.
No, hold up. I want to see, I want to see a description of what we're doing, and I want to see a quote from somebody. So that's my objection. So my vote on this is no, until we have that information.
Any further discussion?
Call the question.
All in favor, say aye. All against?
3-2.
3.
You voted no or
I
yes?
voted
She
for.
voted yes.
Yes? 3 yes, 2 no.
And I
No, I understand, I
voted
understand,
no
I
strictly because,
understand.
you know, I think we should have something
Right.
in front of us, a
Right.
proposal.
I understand.
This is what we're going to do, this is
Right.
how much it's going to cost.
You're not being criticized
In
for
other
it.
words, why not get a bid?
We should have 2 or 3 bids in front of us and know that in fact that process was gone through. This is part of the job of Warrant and Finance
That's
as well as
correct.
the select board. And we shouldn't be making recommendations on undocumented, just requests for money.
That is
Again,
correct.
that's my objection, same as it was with the ambulance.
But I tell you, it's going to be easier next year if we start this whole process earlier than we
My
do.
God, I hope so.
Okay, because it puts a tremendous strain on everybody to make
Yes.
sure that,
The language is up to $30,000.
Yeah.
You know.
that's a maximum. But anyway, it's been approved 3-2, and we understand the no votes. Number
Certainly ought to be a maximum,
68,
that number.
to see if the town will vote to appropriate up to $12,000 from the Capital Improvement Fund for replacing doors at the town hall.
I'll make a motion to accept the article as written.
There is a motion made to accept as written
Second.
for recommendation. It's been seconded. Now we have discussion.
I would like to make some discussion.
Okay?
Which doors are we in reference to, Elise?
We have this door,
Yes,
the town hall door, and the door down by the planning board room.
okay.
Okay.
So it'll be this one, the main entrance going in
Yep,
to the town hall, and then the one down by the planning board office.
right, and they all have to be like the library door with the
Right.
handicap push
Yep,
button.
nope, just needed
And
clarification.
that price is based on what the library door cost.
All right.
Okay?
So it's going to be a door, all 3 of these doors are gonna be like the library door, half glass,
Yeah,
so that you can actually see who's at the door.
I believe so.
They may
With,
not be glass, but they're gonna be to a certain standard.
Okay,
Well, I
It
think
doesn't
if you,
make sense
I think
to
if you're
have-
going to have the handicap access push plate, then the door has to have glass.
What's that right there, is that one?
No,
No.
it does not
I don't
meet.
know what the specifications are, so.
These are commercial doors presumably, and they are a lot more expensive than
Oh,
regular
absolutely.
household doors. There is a question whether we need push bars on all of them.
have to have crash bar, well, the.
You have to have crash bars on exit ways, required exit ways.
Everywhere
Okay.
there's a ramp?
And
Yes,
maybe everywhere there's a ramp.
Where there's a ramp,
Handicap
right,
access, I think it's in the code.
and you don't have to have this one replaced?
No, because that's an exit, more of an emergency exit.
the way the code is, if you, you have to have these in buildings with occupancy loads greater than 50 persons, and there have to be 2 means of exit. Only the required exits to make that requirement require the crash bars, but in any case, we don't have a quote on this either, so
All right.
I'm not going to get into the code, but
Okay, that's fine. Any other discussion or questions? May I have a vote, please? All in favor?
I'd like to see
of
a quote.
Article 68,
I'll vote.
4, all against?
I'll vote no on it. Just
4
because we're not
yes,
voting
1 no.
it. What did the,
We're gonna be at town meeting to answer all this.
Yeah.
what did the,
If you don't come, I'm going to come and get you.
if
I
we
know
don't-
where he lives, I'll help Hogtie and bring him in.
what did the
Whether
door
you're
on the
planting onions or
library
not.
call?
It was almost $4,000.
Yeah.
I thought it was
And that,
about 45, wasn't it?
Was that?
I think, I thought it was about 45.
yeah.
Well,
Door
I-
and the automatic opener.
Well, we had, I hope not, because then.
That answers your question, to see if it will carry forward.
Sorry.
Right.
All right,
That's
forget I
the
said
cemetery
that.
fund? Okay. See,
All right. Next one is Article 69, to see if the town will vote to carry forward the following fund balances and allow the balance carried forward to be appropriated to the designated department for the ensuing year.
You can waive the reading.
Waive the reading, okay, it says here, as a note here, the following non-fiduciary funds will automatically carry forward and be expensed as necessary. Neighbors Helping Neighbors Fund, Mary Grant Fund, Fuel Assistant Donation Fund, Fire Department Grant Donation Scholarship Fund, and the Gym Donation Fund.
these are not municipal funds, these
These
are
are not,
funds.
these are private, and they're not even a 401,
No, all we do is we serve,
Yes.
our treasurer handles the funds
handles
for the
those.
town. Yeah.
Now,
They're
all
fiduciary.
other unexpended fund balances and revenues to lapse into the undesignated fund lapsed school balances to be designated for school funding only. Board of Selectmen recommends, Warrant and Finance Committee recommends. Do I hear a motion?
I'll make a motion, accept the article as written.
Is there a second? It's been moved and seconded. Now we have discussion, please.
Yes, I would like to find out what is gravel processing.
I can tell you what gravel processing is, but the problem, there's definitely a problem. And I'm going to vote no on this for the same reason. All these labels are forever. But gravel process, the land that the school is on, the back portion of that, on the left-hand side, is a large sand deposit. Okay? And for about the past 10 years now, the town has been mining its road sand back there. And I don't know if they have sold any out of there or not, but that's what this account represents. It's account for handling.
I don't remember that being on the warrant last year.
It was on the warrant last year. The name might have been different. If you look in your book, if you look in the book.
I didn't get a book last year.
No, if you look in your book on the last page, you will find a gravel processing reserve fund. Again, this is a reserve fund that is not a legal reserve fund, okay? And all those issues, hopefully, we can get addressed before this warrant gets done, but.
That was my question.
Yeah.
Don't they rent, once in a while, I believe they rent equipment to do some of this gravel processing?
They may,
Yes, yes,
Part of the equipment for-
yes, they told us that.
The problem here is, though, that it's a revolving fund from which there could be income, okay? There's expenses. Once you put that label reserve on it, as it has been labeled in our book, but is not labeled here.
I certainly agree in theory about what you're saying. We're not going to have this solved by the time this budget gets sent to the voters, however. It should be on the priority list of the selectmen and this committee next year to get this all straightened out, because, you know, I've been here now 4 years, and you've talked about this every year, and we never seem to get to the point where it could be presented to the voters. And I think you have a valid reason, but we got to get this thing organized instead of continually going through this every single
Is this
year.
gone over by the attorneys again? You do that every year still?
Yeah.
I think, yeah.
That's not worth the amount of money. Well,
All right, so we have an
I won't go
article
there.
here, it's been moved and seconded, and is there any further discussion on it? If not, let's have a vote, please, all in favor of the recommendation? All opposed? 4 yes, 1 no. We're almost finished, ladies and gentlemen.
Any more?
Article 70, to see if the town will vote to accept any and all funds received from the state of Maine and the federal government and appropriate any designated revenues received to their designated use. I think that's one that has been in there almost every year.
It is in there every year.
Is there a motion?
Make a motion to accept Article
A motion to
70.
accept as written recommendation. It's been seconded. Discussion, please.
Second.
All right. Want to vote? All in favor? Any opposition? Oh, my heavens.
5-0.
5. Okay, the next one is 71, to see if the town of Acton will authorize the transfer of excess funds from the school's undesignated fund balance to offset taxes contingent on the Acton School Department fund balance policy and there being a surplus at the end of the fiscal year. I know that is going to happen probably. Okay.
What happens here is, just for general information, it's new law. Within the past 5 years, the state by law has mandated that the undesignated fund balance at the school, or the school's undesignated fund balance, cannot exceed 3% of the annual operating budget. Any
That's correct.
additional funds must be restored to the municipality for its expenses.
That's correct.
And this comes into full effect, I think it's in full effect now.
Yes.
But we have a lot of leftover history dealing with dealing with this law coming into effect that needs discussion and resolution.
But they
And
did it
some of
last
that
year,
would
and
be-
I think they're going to be probably in a position to do
They
some
should be.
additional.
We have one other problem too, which has not been addressed. That is that the law began to be implemented 3 years ago. It has to be completely implemented by the end of this coming fiscal year. Now, what the school did 3 years ago at the beginning of this process was it took excess undesignated funds in excess of that 3%, and it placed them in designated accounts. But that, I don't want to get into that issue tonight, but what it effectively did was it removed those excess funds. The law stipulates that those funds had to be expended by the end of this coming fiscal year, or we get into certain complications with our state subsidies for school possibly, et cetera. There are a whole bunch of implications here. But that's a whole nother issue for this group to deal with, and that will be part of the information that I'm going to be hopefully providing you in the near future.
Okay.
Okay?
Any other discussion?
Call the question.
Okay, Article 71, all in favor of...
Oh, you didn't get the motion.
I'm sorry, we have a motion on this one yet? Jesus. Good talking.
I'm gonna go home.
Okay. All right, let's hear a motion, please, for Article 71.
Make a motion to accept Article 71.
And is there a second to that motion?
Second.
Any further discussion? All in favor of 71, recommending the wording here, all of the levy 5, nothing. Okay, the last article. To see if the town will vote to appropriate $636,400 from fiscal year 2017-18 municipal revenues and up to $300,000 from municipal undesignated fund balance to reduce the amount to be raised by taxation during the tax commitment.
I'll make a recommendation to accept the article.
There has been a motion to accept, and it's been seconded. Now discussion. Mr. Gore, maybe you want to lead us off.
I'm gonna read the article and make sure I
And then put on a turnout.
Selectmen,
Elise?
do we know how much, I know that there was discussion of the tax base going up.
43 cents of the tax base going up is out of our control because of the homestead tax exemption. We don't get as much back from the state. And I'm not positive of the final number. After all the adjustments were made for this meeting.
So we're still looking at somewhere, but probably between 40 to 50.
Possibly 40 to 60.
It depends on what town meeting does.
Okay, just to make sure that I have this all written down correctly, we voted no.
Wait a minute, we need to finish this motion.
I'm sorry?
You need to vote on 76.
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm just sitting here counting. All right, any further discussion on this final,
Call the vote, call the article.
all right, all in favor?
Move the
Aye.
question.
Any opposition?
Zip.
Okay, 5 yes, 0 no. Look back now real quickly and let's make sure. We said no, we defeated Article 28, is that correct?
Where are we? Why are we, how far back are you actually going?
28.
28, Article 28.
Find the appropriate page.
Page 14.
Yes.
We defeated that one, is that correct? We defeated Article 15.
28? No.
28, it was 2 to 3.
2 yes,
3
3 no.
Yes.
We defeated it, yes?
Right, yeah.
Article 28, okay, how about Article 15?
2 to 3.
You said no on that one?
2 yeses, 3 noes.
Yes, that's correct. So we defeated that one, and there's a third one. And I think that's
15, you and
Article 20,
you and I will voted,
sir?
you and I voted together.
Yes.
15.
Yes. But the other 3 said no, so it was defeated. There's one other one now, guys. Where is it?
I think it's 36. I've got 2 yeses and 3 nos.
36 was the third one, yes. 3 noes and 2 yeses on the article as far as stockpile of sand, salt, and
Winner,
public
winner,
works
chicken
building.
dinner.
Now, those are the only 3 that we have not approved and not recommended for adoption. We've added the York County Shelter Program. We have done our fiduciary duties. I would again refer Mr. Gore to the fact that you've put 5 attachments onto your last message. I was waiting for the first of the 5, and now I have 5 to read, okay? But if it's not clear, if we're not doing this in a very, very effective way as far as making sure that we have what we should be doing, what the names should be, and why they should be, unless we have it written out, it's not going to fly.
Bill, let me first suggest that I am at the point where I have listed and described a mess of problems, all right? I am not going to pursue that any further unless this board agrees that these are issues that need to be addressed with.
I will be the first to agree,
And I
and I
am
don't
not
think,
going to share it with the selectman, the treasurer, the secretary, anybody, until there is consensus here, okay? I was in the same spot with the school board the other night, and I've been in that spot over and over and over again. I don't like
Exactly,
being there.
exactly.
So I am going to be supplying to everybody.
however, it's not been organized in a way that people can really grasp the message that you're trying to give, which is a valid message, okay?
Yep.
Truly. So unless it's
Well-
written well, so everyone understands why you
That's why-
are
that's
so
why I want-
adamant about something, which is good that you are, it's not going to win this time around either.
Well, I don't disagree with you. That's why I want to put it before this board so that we can establish, we can determine. I am writing as, what I say is a broader perspective than a lot of people here, only because I've had the experience and I think I know what's involved.
respect that. I
okay?
respect that
So I'm going to
experience.
miss some stuff. I'm sure I'm going to miss some stuff to make it clear to everybody, and that's why I've asked you to look at it.
I will.
Okay, but I would like to share it with everybody here, and I'd like that consensus built. If there's no consensus, it's going to die right there, as far as I'm concerned. It's been a lot of work, but that's okay.
It's not okay.
Well, if it's something that, you know.
It's something that's important,
It is
that
addressing
has slowly through the
problems.
years
No, I mean, you
evolved
can't fix everything.
negatively as far as the
Right.
power
Now.
of this committee.
Right, I agree, 100%.
It has to be an evolving process.
Right.
And
But-
as long as you substantiate, you know, you make a lot of comments in regard to, the town has not established this reserve account, that reserve account,
Right.
et cetera.
Right.
As long as you can substantiate
Yep, substantiated, it's there.
that
And
those
if-
things are or are not
Yep.
legal accounts,
And the proper terminology for those accounts.
yes, so that, you know.
You're going to have a copy of the law, which is going to give it to you.
Okay,
There's a copy of the law.
that's fine.
Yeah, that's
So we
fine.
look forward to that, Mr. Gore. Is there any
Well-
other business that we need to conduct this
Make a
evening? If
motion,
not,
we
ma'am,
adjourn this meeting.
there's a move, seconded, all in favor, opposition?
Before you rush off,
Thank you, sir.
a couple of things.
No,
Email.
you're out.
Oh, okay. No, I want to